Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Cheryl Underwood, and you're tuned into the hottest news station on the planet, Hot 702.5.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Cameron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
Hi. Hey.
What's up? All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled. This is Mila J. Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
Tune in now on hot7025fm.com.
It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California's sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale.
There we go. I can hear my sexy voice now. You know, sometimes you gotta let your voice turn on, and that's what do you in the morning. That's your own coffee in the morning. You get up and say hello. Talk when you do your morning prayers and stuff like that, then that lets you know that you sounding good for the day, dog. What's happening, y'all? We in this thing like a wedgie, baby. We are at Hot 5 a.m. day. So that means it's time to holla at the homie. Let me do some rearrangement. Around here. See, that's how we do. We do switch it up. I'm like, pull around here. You know what I'm saying? I only got 2 arms, but I got a lot of appendages. No, I'm just I'm just messing around. What's up with y'all out there, man? What y'all doing? Where y'all at? And where y'all at? What y'all doing? It's your main man, 360, the poet. That's THAPOET. Make sure you spell it right because it means something. Tenacity, heart, and attitude presents opportunities every time. So there we go. Here we go with the flu of the flow. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all remember Domino? Y'all remember Domino back in the day? Where was he from? Domino was somewhere in California, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's from like L.A., something like that. But Domino, he used to jam. If y'all used to, back in the day, we used to have cars ride by with the booming systems and all those other, like if you had a Suzuki Sidekick or a Nissan or something along those lines, then let me know. Let me check in with my engineers. Let me see if I'm doing anything blurry, anything like that. May need to slide to the left, slide to the right. How we feeling right about that? That's good. That's warmer. That's warmer, getting warmer. Huckabucka Beanstalk. What was that game they used to play? Huckabucka Beanstalk. I remember all that. Y'all remember Huckabucka Beanstalk? I do. I used to be like, you're getting warmer. And then people say, oh, you iceberg, you're freezing, you're frozen. What are y'all doing out there? What are y'all doing? Yes. We out there, baby. So what's happening? All my people out there, my folks out there on TikTok, my folks on Instagram, my folks on YouTube and on Facebook. We right here at the #1 spot in the land for advice, whether it be online or in person. Whether you send a letter, you call in, you write in, you text me, you DM me, whatever you need to do. Make sure you send that to holla@thehomie@gmail.com. That's HOLLAATTHAHOMIE@gmail.com. And we'll make sure we get your question answered. We'll make sure we get somebody to direct themselves to you to make sure you know that the time when your question is going to be read on air, when your letter is going to be read on air. I got somebody in my camp. Look at that. Who got a camp out here? Me. I got a camp. It's good to have a tribe, a camp. Anybody out there that's willing to help you, especially when you old like me. You know what I'm saying? I'm what you call DNF. Or, either that a car approaching a half a century, so or DNF damn near 50. So I'm out here like that. Across put it don't even know what generation I don't I'm doing what I'm talking about because I can tell you which generation is which. So Okay, look who coming into the 21st century out here in these streets. I'm getting there, dog. We in there. What's up, Fender_43? What's happening with you, bruh? You know what I mean? Going on out there in these streets. We're going to see what else is populating out here. We're going to see who's going. So we got a good letter in. Like I say, people send in letters. They either email me, they text me, they DM me, and they get the point across to me by saying like, hey, I got something I got a question about. And could you and your online colleagues help me out with this one? Because I like to make sure I always include my online colleagues because y'all really be coming through. Y'all really be answering questions and different perspectives than what I would take it as and how I would approach it. So that really gives me a better idea the kind of stuff I'm saying. What's going on, M.O. Owens? You know what I'm saying? It's the kind of things that I'm saying out here actually add up to something. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay. As long as y'all out here, participating in things like that, I do greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate y'all for all the ways that y'all tap in, So we're going to do what we always do. I always like to give my disclaimer. Whenever I'm on here talking about what I be talking about, I like to give my disclaimer. Now, there's no way, shape, form, or fashion have I ever been trained in psychology, in psychiatry, in counseling, or anything like that. But what I have done is I've lived a very colorful life. And I'm not just talking about my wardrobe. I'm talking about the places I've been, the people I've been around, those who I've spoken with and lived vicariously through. I've been through a lot. And as that, what I want you all to understand is I've been able to sponge up some game. What's up, BB Tribe 2? As that, I've been wanting y'all to know I've been able to sponge up some game, and that's how I'm able to squeeze it back out to y'all over the airwaves, okay? So with that being said, let's dive into today's letter. And it goes a little something like this. It says, Dear Holla at the Homie, I never thought I'd be in a situation like this, but here I am, caught between my heart and my family ties. A few weeks ago, I started dating this guy who has honestly been nothing but kind, thoughtful, and exciting to get to know. Everything was going great until one night, while we were sharing stories about college, we stumbled onto a surprising connection. He used to date my cousin back in the day. Not just casually either. She was his college sweetheart. So here's the thing. The relationship ended over 5 years ago. From what I understand, it wasn't messy, just one of those breakups where people grow apart and go their separate ways. Still, once we discovered the connection, the air got a little heavy between us. Now, I'm not sure what to do. On one hand, I genuinely like this man and want to keep exploring where this relationship could go. On the other hand, I can't shake the worry that my cousin might see this as betrayal, even though she's long moved on. I don't want to jeopardize my bond with her, but I also don't want to throw away something that feels promising just because of history. So here I am in this awkward pickle. Do I press pause out of respect for family, or do I take the risk and follow my heart? And if I do keep dating him, how do I even bring this up with my cousin without blowing it up? What's up, love yourself, Danny? Thanks for checking in with me, home girl. Okay. Conflicted cousin in love. Let me unstaple that so I can go back to there at any time. I like to go back to my references and stuff like that. Conflicted cousin in love. So what that mean? That means that you got some feelings for a guy. You know, you got some feelings for this man. Harpo, who this man? Harpo, who this woman? You got feelings for this man. You've been dating him for a few weeks. A few weeks could be 4, 6, 8, whatever, a couple months, whatever the case may be. It's just under a year. So you haven't got a chance to be too serious, but at the same time, you're starting to develop, you're enjoying the company and things like that. And more than likely, y'all done kind of got a little snuggle buddy time because y'all started talking about, what's up, Dakari Kofi? Y'all started talking about like past relationships, or at least college. Y'all start talking about y'all connections and things like that. And come to find out, one of the most important ones was your cousin used to date this man. So now you're feeling conflicted. Hence your name, conflicted cousin in love, right? So it comes from this person, and then she's dating this man that she's really feeling. So let me recap for y'all, right? And the plot twist, he used to date her cousin. We talking about 5 years in the rear view. So it's not like this is something, what's going on? Not again, April? What's going on with your god sister? Beautiful. I might have to do that. Boom. Goes a little something like that. So I did that. So boom. So there we go. So now what happens is, now it's been 5 years in the rear view since this person dated her cousin. So not like it was just last month or they just broke up, last year and they haven't even spent a holiday without one another yet. This is a situation where, this person has been long gone from her cousin's life to the point where she didn't even know that they had dated. So now whether your cousin went off to college and there was somebody who they dated while they were gone away and now your cousin's back in town, or maybe this person moved in town, or maybe you moved to where they went to college. Who knows? I didn't get all the schematics involved with that, right? But what I was able to get was the fact that your cousin used to date this man over 5 years ago. So now you wondering, what should you do? Now you stressing, our homie here. What's going on, Ebony Charlene? Now our homie here is stressing whether or not she should follow her heart or whether she should pump the brakes out of family loyalty. Why? How do you flip that coin? Where does that coin come in? Where does that land on heads or tails? And what does each one of them mean? Because I'm big on flipping coins. I'll let fate decide a lot of stuff because I believe that my faith connected to fate is how it's going to kind of, my steps are ordered already. So it really kind of, it's just giving me an opportunity to kind of say whether I had a decision made, right? So how would you flip this coin? What would heads mean? Heads mean date the man. Tails mean you keep on pushing. Again, thank all y'all that's out there joining. If you join it, make sure you share, tell somebody, send a tap, love, all that kind of stuff, right? So like, how would you flip this coin? Would you say heads, he's mine, tails, take him back? How would you do this? So the thing we got to do is we got to unpack this for her just a little bit, right? It's 5 years is a long time. That's half a decade. That's a real, if you with somebody for 5 years, y'all been together for a staple amount of time. So to be without them, 7 years is how long it takes for people's cycle of life to change, right? So that's why they say the 7-year itch. So the 5 years, you over the hump. They over the hump is in regards to how they feel about each other. Now I'm not saying like they was just, what's up, JC? I'm not saying like this is just, they never think about each other ever again, because if somebody was your sweetheart or they held a special place in your heart or something like that, then you're not just going to just poof, be gone, forget about them, right? But that doesn't mean that you still have the same feelings for them. Because I'm pretty sure some people out there, I'm pretty sure my wife got exes that she still thinks about, or I have exes that I may still think about, but not in that way. Like if they birthday come up on the calendar, you'd be like, okay, hope that person doing well. Like I say, if it was an amicable parting, I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see everything. I can't control nobody's thoughts. And for them to think that they betraying me just to have a thought, as long as you don't act upon it, then I'm cool. Ain't nobody say you got to send them no text. Like, happy HBD, my ninja. You ain't got to do none of that. I'm just saying, but if the thought crossed your mind, I can't control your thoughts. So I'm not saying that these people have not thought about each other in the last 5 years. But what I am saying is that 5 years is a long time for them to not be involved anymore. You get what I'm saying? That's a very long time for them not to be involved anymore. So how do you decipher whether that's long enough for her to be over him, for him to be over her? Because like if he's still willing to keep on pushing forward with you, then where do we go from here? What's going on, Peter's sister? Where do we go from here? You know, do we keep it? Do I tell my cousin? Do you tell your cousin is what I'm saying? Or do you try to keep it to yourself? Or do you say to Car, you say, you good? You didn't know they dated. Just tell her that she's family. She didn't direct the type of guy he is. I say go forward, explore your feelings. I'm with you on that, Dakari Kofi. Dakari Kofi telling you to explore your feelings. So he's telling you right there, flat out. He said, she never told you what type of guy he is, but at the same time, for him to confess that and admit to that and say that it was an amicable parting and there was no bad words exchanged in regards to that, what's going on, Hayes Way Lawn, there's no way, there's nothing wrong with that. Then I say explore your feelings as well. But, I'm always going to be on both shoulders. I'm going to be an angel's advocate. I'm going to be devil's advocate. I'm going to let you know on both sides of this thing, right? I appreciate that. Thank y'all for click. And thanks for, that's what's up, Hayes Way. Sent a rose my way. I don't even know how that operate, but I'm going to keep on looking into it to see how it go. Y'all just keep tapping them. But like, I would explore my feelings too on one side of things, right? If there's no lingering drama, if there's no unresolved breakup, they've lived completely different chapters in their lives. This is history, not current events. It's not like something is going on right now or like they just spent the block in between those 5 years when they've been officially, sometimes people be broke up, but they'll spin the block on each other. Oh, they'll come back, they'll catch you, they see you out with your girls at happy hour or something. And next thing you know, y'all in the car, Next thing you know, y'all at the crib, something. Y'all done made out, kissed, or something. Now, some people, they'll spin the block. But if these two ain't spent the block on each other in 5 years, that's enough time for a kid to be born and go to kindergarten. That's a long-ass time. So I say, run with it. This is not current events. But, and it's a big but. Shorty got a big old but. Oh, yeah, and no, I told you I'd be true. Family feelings matter, right? I always want to tell people, family feelings always matter because you never want to, because we always talk about what is family. It's not the people that you're related to. Family's about the people who you loyal to, the people who are loyal to you. What's up, Jude? Family's about who your loyalty reciprocates amongst, right? So this could be somebody that who considers themselves, what's up, Isabella, considers themselves a family member, who considers themselves, somebody close to you, a cousin, or this could be your blood relative. Either way, if they family feelings matter. Okay, so I can't just sit there and say like, oh, forget your cousin. Like she had a whole half a decade, you know what I mean, to try to make this happen. No, it's not about that. It's not about that. If she wanted to spin the block, she could have spent the block. No, I'm not saying that either because her feelings do matter. Even if your cousin is happily moved on. That's the thing I want you to understand. Even if your cousin is happily moved on, learning that her ex-college sweetheart is now dating her cousin and possibly beating the brakes off her cousin, like the way he used to beat the brakes off of her or something. You know what I mean? Like she may be reminiscing about that good D, that good vitamin D. So that may sting for a little bit, for a second. So you have to give that grace and that allowance to let people be able to say like, hey, just a heads up, cuz I want to let you know a little something, because that doesn't mean that, you're betraying her. I want you to understand it's not about a betrayal at this point. It's not about you betraying her. What it does mean is that you're stepping into a situation where honesty and sensitivity are key. These are the key things to what's going on in this situation. Honesty and sensitivity. So you got to be open. You got, say, what's up, Rico? You got to be open. You got to be able to say like, hey, cuz, let me holla at you. This is what I would do. I would check my own intentions first. What do you mean by that, 360? Check your own intentions. What I'm saying by that is, if you're not dating this man just to get one up on your cousin, right? Because some people get messy. We live in the love and hip hop world, so ish get messy. If people, trying to portray what's going on television or something like that, it can get messy, right? What's going on, Christy Latrice? It can get messy if the situation allows itself to. But if you're not trying to do this just to one up your cousin or to stir up some family tea, and you're with him because you genuinely click, if that's true, then it's at least worth the conversation, right? What does that mean? It's worth a conversation. It's at least sitting her down. And again, you know how I feel. You know how I feel. It's never in a big setting. You don't handle sensitive situations with one individual amongst a group of people. Now, if you had an issue with a group of people, then address the group of people. But if you have a situation where you got something going on and it's just amongst you and one other person, then those are only two people that need to be in on this conversation. I'm going to stand firm on that, 10 toes strong. You know what I always say? And don't be sending no text. Texts are impersonal. That's why people call me an old man, hint, person sitting 6 feet away from me, because I send voice texts. Because I want you to know, if I have to send you a text, I want you to know the intentionality behind my words. Because the word READ could be read or it could be read. You understand what I'm saying? What I mean by that, I'm just using that as an example. I want you to know what I mean and how I feel about what I'm saying. So still, don't even leave her a voice text like, oh, hey, cuz, just want to hit you up, let you know that, you remember your ex-boo, John? Oh, yeah, we got it going on now. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying don't send a text. Don't send a casual one. Don't send one to the family group chat. I mean, you pick a time to talk to your cousin one-on-one. Prima y prima. Talk to each other. That's all we asking. Talk to each other one-on-one. Keep it simple and keep it respectful. That's my point. What'd you say, Bobby? You sure do, and I actually appreciate that. Yeah, I do. I'm a firm believer in if it's something to deal with one person, I'm gonna talk to that one person. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Because if they were meant to be in the conversation, they would be there. What up, ain't life sweet? They would be there. They would be able to say and tap in and chime in on a part of the things that are transpiring. If they just there being nosy, sopping up the tea, then what is their purpose? What is your purpose if all you there to do is sop up the tea? That's not helpful. We need situations like these, we need people that are going to be helpful, who will be an aid to easing the situation, to mediating the situation. We need people that are going to contribute to a resolution. Would you say I just write a whole book? You say you write it down. You journal it, Bobby. You journal it. Ain't nothing wrong with journaling, man. Journal it on up, dog. Journal it on up. What up, Betty Boop? So that's what I'm saying. Like one-on-one. Be like, hey, girl, if you need some words to say to me, like, I wanted to talk to you about something, and I wanted to speak with you directly because I value you. Make sure you let people know that you talking to them, not just because you trying to, make them feel like trash or you trying to let them in on some bad news. Tell them that let people know when you talking to them, the reason why you chose to speak to them, is because you value them. What's up, For Analyze? Me, Ma, today in the building. What's the Kari Kofi say over there? He said, ask your, I can't see. I'll see it when it pop up on the big screen. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to be able to, ask your cousin who he is and who his best boyfriend she had, or ask her if she really loved the guy. If the guy mentioned, then you might be in the clear. And that's cool too. You can go beat around the bush with it. You can ask her who her favorite boyfriend was, but then she's gonna be like, "Why are you worried?" I'm just saying, say, "Hey, cuz, I value you, I love you, and I want to talk to you about something." You know? Say, I've been seeing someone, and I recently learned he's someone you dated back in college. So make sure you mention these things. I recently discovered. Not saying like, oh, I found out that y'all used to date. No, I recently discovered that y'all used to date back in college. Not saying I went behind you picking up your sloppy seconds, or, because that's how people, people that's ignorant, they're going to think, well, you got my seconds, I had them first. That J mentality, right? Appreciate you, ain't life sweet. You know what I mean? So, like, this is my thing. Like, somebody you dated back in college, I really like him, but I also want to make sure that I'm not stepping on your toes. So that's a respectful way to approach the situation. What's up, cousin? That's a respectful way for you to be able to approach your cousin, and be like, hey, girl, like, I ain't trying to do this. I ain't messy like that. I just want to know, what's the deal with y'all? Am I in the clear? And again, what you're doing, notice what you're doing here. You're not asking for permission. You're just giving a respect check, right? You're not asking for permission like you're a teenager that's sneaking out of the house or trying to be out past curfew or something like that. Or like, like this your auntie and you like, oh man, this my uncle, used to be my uncle. Nah, it's nothing like that. What you're doing is you're doing a respect check. And it's nothing wrong with that. We need more people to check their level of respect. Check their self-respect, check their respect for others, and you respecting the situation. You respecting him to say like, hey, like, I appreciate you letting me know that you used to date my cousin, because apparently she meant enough to you that you wouldn't want anything foul to come between us, to come between y'all, like any of that. It's nothing wrong, again, with making sure that the bridges that you've crossed over are unburned. Because I said maybe a couple of months ago, like, there's times when bridges can't get burned, but with the right planning, you can give them construction. You can rebuild them. What's up, Pammy? With the right construction, you can rebuild these type of bridges in the event they got burned. Mad Genius Fit. What's up, Kara P? So like, again, you're not asking for your cousin's permission to date her ex. You're letting her know that you've started dating someone and you recently discovered that they dated in college. And you can even let her in on the fact that he lets you know that they were college sweethearts. Now, whether that's going to spark up some feelings in her, or whether that lets her know that he's being transparent and not trying to be an a-hole or anything like that, then that may make a difference in the whole situation. But if you're transparent enough to say, this is what's going on, this is how I'm feeling, and I wanted to check in with you to see how you were feeling, then what's up, Aunt Ruby? Then that would be a way for us to both be able to say, like, hey, let's meet in the middle and find out where we can go from here. Where do we go from here? That's always a song I sang up in here. Right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right? So let's recap before we get into the end of it, right? So what we got here is we got a letter from somebody who signed a letter as conflicted cousin in love. And she just recently found out that the guy that she's been dating and developing feelings for used to be her cousin's college sweetheart. So now she's wondering, asking us here at Holla at the Homie, how does she proceed? Because she's like, I'm feeling this dude, but I still don't want to, I don't want to step on my cousin's toes. I don't want to feel like I'm betraying her. And that's good for you to have that moral compass. Let's start there. Big ups to you for that. Big ups to you for having that moral compass. Again, appreciate all y'all that's over here tapping. Make sure y'all sharing. Good love. So appreciate that moral compass from you, conflicted cousin in love, because that shows that you got integrity. You know? Would you say, Cousin Bryson? I don't know what's going on, but just tuning in looked like the place to promote for those who are together getting married and need photography. I see you, cuz. Y'all holler at my cousin if y'all down in that area. In Illinois, Indiana area, if you need photography. But like, yeah, that's the thing, you know. So she's gotta find out how to inform her cousin, how that she's dating this guy that she used to date, that was her college sweetheart. Because again, it wasn't just a casual relationship. They actually had a real bond. They called themselves sweethearts, or they were a thing for a minute. They were a thing, you know. It's, you know, that's like when you with somebody, they be like such and such and such and such. You know, Mork and Mindy. Look at Mork and Mindy. You know, and what'd you say, Tia? I came on the tail end of the topic is dating a cousin's ex. It's a big no. Some bridges burn because they need to. No reconstructions. There's too many men in the world. Hey, and there it is. Again, like I say, I'm always on both shoulders. I'm a dip on one side, I'm a dip on the other. I appreciate that, Mrs. Norwood. And you know, like you said, dating cousin's ex is a big no because there's too many in the world. I mean, and that is true opinion. I wonder what Icarus said about this. I'm gonna text her what she said. Date her cousin's ex if she found out later. Not saying that she knew before, but if she found out later. What'd you say? You can't control who the heart truly loves, and I get that too, Professor BB. And I love all these perspectives. I love these perspectives to find out exactly where people would approach it, because that gives our writer, our listener, that gives our listener a chance to kind of say like, okay, maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that, you know what I'm saying? Like if you didn't know before, and that's my main thing. She didn't know before that this was her cousin's ex. Okay, so it's not like she's going after her cousin's ex. You know, and I appreciate that, Tia. You know, it's not like she's going after her cousin's ex. But at the same time, some people do live by that code. It's a code. It's a family code. Like, hey, cuz, I know this your ex. I'm just letting you know I started dating him, but I'm cutting it off. Because that's your ex, and we don't rock like that. That's one way that she could approach it. She could approach it like, hey, cuz, I just want to let you know I'm dating your ex. I'm feeling him, but if you're not feeling this, let me know. I'll nip it in the bud. That's another approach. Or she could be like, hey, cuz, I want to let you know I started dating this dude. I found out that's your ex-college sweetheart. I know you ain't been together in about 5 years. I'm considering still dating him. You know, let me know if there's some friction. If it is, we can talk about how to smooth it out, but I'm going to keep pressing forward. So it's a lot of different ways that she can approach this whole situation. You know, it's a lot of people. There's a lot of ways she can approach this situation. And that's what we all here for, right? I told her first things first. I papa freaks all the honey. No, I'm sorry. You know, every time I hear a song in my head, I start singing the lyrics. But I told her my first thing was I check my intentions as the person who's dating, right? First. So I told her check her intentions first, meaning if she's not doing this just to one up her cousin, what'd you say? It depends on which cousin, how long it's been and how long they've been dating before I found out. How long you been dating before you found out? Okay. Are we on too deep? What's that mean? Are we in too deep? Right. And that's the thing. Are they in too deep? That's an excellent question. I appreciate her for proposing that. Oh, and that's another thing. That's a Professor BB over here on TikTok said, are you dating to marry, or are you dating just to fill in the blanks right now? Because that's a big difference. Because if you marry somebody who the rest of your family know that used to be your cousin's like main boo thing, then what's that invitation list gonna look like? What's that wedding gonna look like? How somebody gonna stand up and say they object? What's that gonna feel like? That's another thing. Are you in too deep? Are you dating to marry? What are your intentions? Woo, see, I'm loving all these. They firing off. What's up, Miera Danae? Got one of my daughters on here today. Sweet P. You know what I mean? So they firing off on all cylinders today. The women are asking these questions. Like one woman, or one of our ladies on here said, no, it's a big no. We're not doing that. Another one said, depends on which cousin, how long they've been dating. You know, are we in too deep before you found out? Like I love all this big ball of like, ooh, what if? Roll the dice this way. Magic 8-ball answer over here. Because what that does is it gives you options, conflicted cousin in love. And that's all you really came to us for here at Holla at the Homie. You came to us for options. That's all any of us in life want. Another thing is to consider how long they've been talking. Is it new? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, if you just start talking to this person, like she said, it's been some weeks, but she didn't specify how many weeks. Because 6 weeks of dating somebody, that's a long time. 6 weeks, you can be on about 12 dates, possibly. 12 dates, y'all done did it. I don't care who you is. 12 dates in 2025, somebody done got something. Somebody done got something. 12 dates in 2025, somebody done got something somewhere. I'm just letting you know, whether y'all done slap tongue until you dang near wet your pants, whatever the case may be, somebody done got something. You said, were they really dating? The family didn't know him. Well, I would think, like, if it's your college sweetheart, your family gonna know something about him. So, you know what I mean? So, Professor BB, I think the family probably knows something about him. Because, like, you know, what you say? Also, it's the relationship worth the bond of your cousin. And two, what goes around comes around. That's my thing. I was going to touch on that in a minute. I said, now, this boomerang now, if you got a cousin that come up to you later on, I was just going to say that to Tia Norwood. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. If you going to do this, little Miss Conflicted Cousin in Love, now, if you got a ex that you got some feelings for still out there in them streets, and then another one of your cousins or one of your homegirls or somebody that you may know end up with them, how would you swallow that pill? How would that boomerang? Would you catch it, or would it knock you upside the head? Woo! That's it, Professor BB. Karma. Karma is and she bite. He bite, she bite, they all bite. Karma bite. Hard. You know, so think about it in that way. So that may help with your approach on how you would go about talking to your cousin about it. Because, again, you can always just say, what's up, trap professional? My booby on the line. You can always just say, you ain't got to tell your cousin nothing about it till after and just cut it off. It ain't nothing to cut that trick off. You know, you can always just cut it off. You say, why lie when the truth will do it? But I mean, I'm not saying it by lying. I'm saying you don't have to tell your cousin, because you can just cut it off. What's up, Lucy Lowe? That's what I'm talking about on here, double time. You know, you can just cut it off and be like, girl, let me tell you, you remember such and such? Remember Junior? Yeah, man, I was dating him and found out that y'all used to date. Girl, I cut it off ASAP. I was like, I don't get down like that. That's what I'm saying. And again, you don't have to have this pre-conversation. That's what I'm saying. I'm not omitting anything, Professor BB. What I'm saying is you don't have to have this pre-conversation. You can have the post-convo. You can just have the post-conversation when that comes up. You know what I mean? So you can always be like, girl, let me tell you what was about to happen. What'd you say, Bobby? You say you're going to date with someone for a few weeks, even months, and still not even know that person. So many of us have that, who they really are. And that's a lot of times. You don't really know who people really are until dating them for a little bit of time. You say a few weeks ain't long enough. My cousin been blood since birth. And that's it too. I feel you on that one too, Atia. I do. You know, and that's what I'm loving about this topic, because it's so many different ways that this can be approached, right? There's no wrong, there's no right, there's just real. And that's how I'm loving y'all responses, you know, because they're not coming across as wrong, they're not coming across as right, they just coming across as real. How people who are human beings have real feelings, have real heart, real blood pumping through our veins, how we would approach something this sensitive. And that's what Holla at the Homie is all about. And I'm loving y'all responses. I'm loving the fact that y'all are diving in with me, because it lets me know that there's room for conversation for all of this for a lot of people. Some other people may be going through the same thing, just didn't have the words or didn't have the guts or whatever it may be to actually write in. This person, Conflicted Cousin in Love, sat down, typed me an email and said, hey, holla at me, homie. And I'm appreciative of that. And I'm loving how all of my online colleagues are diving in with me as well, you know? So that's what I'm looking at it is. So what did I say? I said, holla at your cousin. Let's recap what I said. Talk to her about. Talk to your cousin. If you're going to keep it pushing, or if you're considering keeping it pushing, you know, talk to her. Be like, you know, first you check your intentions. If you're not trying to one-up her, then you have that conversation. Be like, hey, cuz, just want to let you know I started dating this dude, and I recently, I told you, keep the verbiage. You know, it's real life. Stuff does happen. You're right. Keep the verbiage. I recently discovered that y'all used to date. Not saying, girl, I heard he's your ex. Because they're going to be like, what you mean you heard and you still kept it pushing? No, I recently discovered that y'all used to date. And into that, it could be like, you know, again, not in any group text, not in any family text, not in no casual text, not in no, what'd you say? I think she's a good woman for even having these thoughts. And that's true. That's true. For her even having these thoughts to be like considerate of her cousin's feelings, I think that's a big up to you. That's way to go. Way to big up other women on there, Professor BB. So I think she's a good and decent person because, you know, exactly. Some women don't care. She could have been like, oh, well, you dated my cousin. Next, you know, my turn. She could have done any of that. You know, but again, if she's got the right intentions behind it, then the conversation should be a courtesy heads up. You know, and that's all anybody wants is somebody say, look out, heads up, watch out, want to let you know, warning, alviso, whatever you want to say, right? You know, but you know, just let your cousin give her a courtesy heads up and be like, I'm dating this dude, and I recently discovered that y'all used to date. It's a small world. But like Atia Norwood said, it's too many men in the world, but it's also us. We also know how small the world is. Within 6 people, we know everybody on the planet. All it takes is 6 people. If we reach out to 6 different people in one direction or another, we know everybody on the planet. We're connected to everybody on the planet, right? So it's a small world. These degrees of separation just came a little bit less than 6. Would you say it's a shortage of the real ones though? And oh, that was a good point. So Tia Norwood, I got somebody on TikTok that just said something along the lines like she's right about it being a lot of good men in the world, but there's a shortage of the good ones. Oh, wow. Now that was a statement. That was an impactful statement. There might be a shortage of the good ones. And this dude seemed pretty good because again, he's at least honest enough to say, yeah, I know her. That was my girl. That was my boo. You know, you might want to holler at your cousin, ask her how we got down, how we got down. You know, I don't want you to be blindsided if we pull up to the cookout. You know, he could have lied his butt off. So it seems like he, you know, at least a decent man to say like, look, I don't want you to be blindsided by if we somewhere and we see her. She be like, girl, that's my ex. You know, we almost had a baby together. It could be so many things that are because in this conversation with your cousin, you can get the tea. On what, again, like Dakari Kofi said, find out what kind of dude he is by asking your cousin, by having this conversation to see if he's even worth your time. Because just because he said it was an amicable parting, you know, just because he said it was a cool way, you know, it was no beef, don't mean she feel the same way. So you want to be able to have this conversation with your cousin if you are considering pursuing him further. You know? That's the thing. You want to make sure that the road is clear. Honesty is a beautiful thing. It's a lovely thing. People love honesty. Honesty loves honesty. When you tell the truth rejoices. You know what I mean? So I got a partner, Danny. I've never heard him tell a lie. He don't care if it hurt your feelings. He don't care if you don't agree. I've never heard my homeboy Danny Dirksen lie. Not one time, like that I'm aware of. You know what I mean? And he'd be like, what's the purpose? Like I'd be like, you ain't gonna spare nobody's feelings. He said, that's if I'm sparing their feelings and I'm not giving them what I really want to tell them. You know? Oh, you know what I'm saying? So that's a biggin. And I appreciate that. You know? So that's the thing. My thing is, again, so do an intentions check first. Make sure that you lean into that conversation. Oh, that's a big old paragraph. say a few years back, I found myself in a situation where I met someone one night and just clicked, and it really clicked all night long. We chatted for a few days, and then it started to dawn on me this person seemed really familiar. That's when I realized they were dating my cousin, one of my favorites. I quickly told my cousin and just moved on. My cousin still took a little longer to let it go, but it gave me the shoulder, gave me a cold shoulder for a while. And that ain't cool. That ain't cool that your cousin gave you the cold shoulder because you let your cousin know what had transpired. And I had to say your whole entire government name. It's on the screen, Tia. I just want people to know who it is saying it. I'm sorry, sister. I ain't gonna give your government away no more. I ain't gonna tell him your whole name, But yeah, so that's the thing. So when you're approaching a situation that's this sensitive, when you're approaching a situation, that's true, Professor BB. A lot of people can't handle the truth. A lot of people cannot handle the truth. But the fact that you are trying in some way to navigate your way through the truth of this shows integrity. It shows self-respect, for one, because you don't want to be caught in any mess that doesn't really represent who you are. But it also shows that integrity that we talk about quite often on this show, which is doing the right thing, even when you don't think anybody's looking or know that anybody's looking. That's showing these things. So by having this conversation and saying like, hey, you're not asking for permission, but you letting her know what's going on and how you feel about her feelings in this, that you value her feelings, that you value her as a person, that you value y'all's relationship. Because all people in the world really want to be is seen and valued. And when it comes time to be celebrated, that's any human being. Human nature. So if somebody feels valued and they feel respected, for who they are and who your relationship is and how your relationship is, that goes a long way. Okay? And again, it's not about asking for permission. It's more about establishing the conversation to understand where do we go from here. And my final thing for you, Miss Conflicted Cousin in Love, would be prepare for the human reaction part of it. Because I can sit here and say all these things. Yeah, talk to your cousin. She be all right. But be prepared for the human reaction. Even if she's fine with it in the long run, right? She may be fine with it in the long run. At the end of the day, she might need a moment to process. Give her that grace. The fact, exactly, she may flip out, Give her that grace to feel however she wants and needs to feel about this. That's the main reason why you approaching her, right? That's the main reason why you're letting her in on what's going on, because you want her to be able to have the grace to receive it and to give you the okay that it's not betrayal. Because that's really what you're seeking, the validation that what you're doing is all right. Give her the grace. If she's the kind of cousin who values your happiness, then she'll move past the initial surprise and she'll wish you well. You know what I mean? Again, because exactly, you didn't know. That's exactly the way I was wanting to point out to him, Professor BB, because you didn't know. It's not like you pursued her ex like, ooh, that's JJ. That's my cousin ex. He looking good. You didn't do that. You was like, some man got at you. You liked his information. You may have liked the way he smelled. He may have had the right conversation. Whatever the case may be, the last weeks or so, few weeks, couple of months, whatever the case may be, y'all been dating. And to say you're dating somebody in 2025, what up, K-Dog? That in itself is a big up, because people don't really date anymore. So give her that grace to be able to react like a human being. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line is this, because you didn't know. It's just an awkward coincidence. So if you handle it with honesty, you handle it with some empathy and some respect. What do I mean by that? Be honest and open. Don't beat around the bush. Handle it with some empathy. Put yourself in her shoes and allow her that grace and some respect. Don't just give it to her around other people where she may not want to hear it. Then what that means is you don't have to sacrifice your relationship out of fear. you could actually be able to build on it both with her, possibly with him, if that's the way y'all decide to move forward. So again, conflicted cousin in love, be open to converse. Come and talk to me. Talk to your cousin. And I think everything will be okay. IMO, in my opinion. But again, like I say, I'm on both shoulders. You may say, nah, I'm good. That's how we don't rock like that in my family. Or you may be like, hey, cuz, I'm feeling this dude. So what's up? What we need to do? Anywhere in between. So I appreciate all those that tuned in and tapped in. Atia, I'm going to just say Atia, young Bobby, young Dakari Kofi. I appreciate all y'all who tapped in with me today. Lucy Lowe, Trap Professional, Mary, Danae, Pammy T. So again, man, Bryson Hinton, appreciate you, cuz, getting your plug in there too. I appreciate all y'all as always, man. So I'll see y'all next Wednesday, Lord willing. And until I breathe in y'all direction again, what's up, Mika's Magic? You got on here with me, girl. I should have been on getting all your information on how to do this TikTok thing. We gonna talk. Again, Professor BB, Mika's Magic, I appreciate y'all as well. Until I breathe in y'all direction again, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I'm 360 the Poet. I'ma holler at y'all in a minute.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. High 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot 702.5fm.com.